Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. So, today was a landmark in the Rocket Pool community, but before we get to that, I'd just like to say that this is not me on the bottom corner of your screen. I'm away from my usual setup today, so I'm recording this kind of on the fly. But it's a picture of Maverick or Nick Ashley doing Shui, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So why is he doing a Shui? Well, Nick's actually the community manager for Rocket Pool. So you might be wondering, why is he doing a Shui and why is there a picture of him on my stream? So on my video. So today was the Redstone update that happened, and it all went successfully. Everything went off without a hitch. For some people, they missed attestations because it seemed like their doppelganger protection was kicked in. It happened to me. It happened to a whole bunch of other people, but it wasn't anything consequential. It was quite straightforward. But that was just something that did happen. But other than that, everything went off without a hitch. The contract was updated, and now we're in Redstone mode. So what does that mean? Let's have a look at this tweet thread from Jasper, who can tell us. Oh wait, that's not the tweet from. That's the tweet from thread from Jasper. Okay, so it says congratulations to Rocket Pool for successfully launching the Redstone upgrade. This dramatically cuts gas for node operators and unlocks a whole frontier of DeFi integrations for RETH. Huge shout out to Joe, JCRTP. Joe's one of the software developers, engineers for Rocket Pool, for his baby, the smoothing pool. Let's dive in. So let's see what the main updates are. So it says Rocket Pool just become a whole lot more profitable. Node operators can now allow RPL inflation rewards to accumulate each month at the end, and the cost of claiming in terms of gas has plummeted. The time to recuperate initial investment is now much lower, plus likely more tax optimized. RETH used to have a quirk. Upon minting, it could not be moved for 24 hours. This is now gone. RETH is now liquid as it is minted. Several big names have been waiting for this to integrate RETH. Maybe even an old friend of Kobe. I'm not sure what Jasper's referencing there, but sounds good. That's something that's actually has been a quirk, and people have noticed that they've struggled to move RETH without realizing that it would be locked for 24 hours. It was because the protocol didn't want people to game the minting of RETH and like selling and buying it, but it seems like the concerns there were kind of overblown, so that feature was removed. The smoothing pool. Now, what's the smoothing pool? Validator earnings are notoriously spiky. Weeks of barely earning anything before lucky proposals like lucky events in RuneScape. The smoothing pool balances all returns, so you never have to worry about luck. And then there was a statistical analysis of the smoothing pool that Ken did, and it basically shows that as long as you have less than 50% of the smoothing pool as your validators, as your mini pools, then it's going to be profitable for you. Altogether, this sets Rocket Pool up to face the merge in its best form ever. Did I mention liquidity incentives are right around the corner? We talked about that a lot yesterday in yesterday's episode. It's a good time to be a Rocketeer. And then there's a picture of a man drinking something out of a shoe, which you've also seen on my stream right now as well. So Redstone is updated. There was a nice little quirk of what you could see on your logs. It said Rocket Pool decentralized staking protocol for Ethereum version 1.1 Redstone update. So that happened. People got these, like kind of like the merge pandas on the clients for the merge testnets. I think Joe was inspired by that, so he made this, which was really great to see. And then we had this picture. So there's a thing in Australia called a shoey, which basically means you fill up a shoe with an alcoholic beverage and then drink it. And it's kind of like a hazing thing, or kind of like a punishment thing, or like, a joke, banter, like whatever you want to call it. Anyway, there was this like in joke in the Rocket Pool community that Langers was going to do a shoey if the if the launch of Rocket Pool was delayed again, and thankfully it wasn't delayed again, so he didn't have to do a shoey. But people have been like demanding a shoey ever since. So Nick stepped up to the plate and did a shoey today. So it was really great to see that, like the team taking it all in good stride. A piece of news that got released during the live stream call is that Ledger Live app will now have integration for purchasing RETH. So what does that mean? It means you can open your Ledger Live app, which everyone who has a Ledger pretty much uses, and you can buy RETH directly through their platform. It makes it a lot easier for people to get RETH, and it's like it I guess psychologically will feel safer to a lot of people to do it that way instead of interacting with the Rocket Pool website and going to our stake.rocketpool.net to mint their RETH. But hey, whatever ways there are to make it easier for users, that's really great to see that they can get they can buy their RETH directly through Ledger Live. And finally, we had this post from Marceau today. He said this clip from Sal is kind of interesting. He talks about the bull case for RPL and how it's low medium conviction trade versus ETH, and he has a hard time imagining LSDs outperforming over a long period of time, about 5 years. So Hal Press was on the drive-through, which is a show that Anthony Sassano does through the Daily Gway, and alongside Rocket Fuel. It's like more sporadic. It's kind of like a one-on-one interview kind of thing. And in that they talked about liquid staking derivatives like staking tokens, and Rocket Pool, the RPL token, was one of the things they talked about. And I think both of them have this idea, or kind of like talked about this thesis, that LSD tokens will outperform ETH at around merge, because they're going to be like a high beta play that people will like try to get in on, because the merge will make staking much more attractive to people. People want to stake through LSDs, and then those LSDs will capture value, which will reflect in their tokens. So Rocket Pool obviously is one such token, and they expect that it will gain value. So Hal Press in this episode talked about how he only goes in on very high conviction like assessments that he has, and how the Ethereum merge is one such assessment, and how he's like invested the fund. That's like the tagline that kind of follows him around. So he said, and Anthony Sassano agreed with him, that the Rocket Pool value proposition comparatively is low to medium conviction, which is why they're not all in on the Rocket Pool token instead. And then Sassano went on to talk about how very few tokens actually outperform ETH on a 5-year scale. So like this clip was released, I think yesterday or the day before. I think yesterday. So Marceau shared it today and like kind of brought up this point. So a lot of people started talking about what it means to outperform ETH and how that would go. So let me see if I can find some comments about that. Wait, there were some comments here. I can't seem to find them now. Sorry, I should have had this open up from before. But people just talking about here we go. This is Han says, I'm a little confused by this. If RPL outperforms ETH on the ratio over the next 5 years, as many as channel expect, myself included, I expect this also, the ratio would need to continuously decline after that point to underperform against ETH, right? And then Marceau says, I think what Hal and Sassala are arguing that RPL may outperform during the merge event, but it's unlikely to outperform over a longer period of time, like approximately 5 years. Outperform meaning that the RPL to ETH ratio goes up. It's a reasonable take. Most tokens don't outperform ETH consistently over time, but I still disagree with it. So this actually like ended up being like a really good discussion. And obviously like in the trading channel, a lot of us have kind of drank the Kool-Aid or as Maverick is doing, literally doing a shoey, like, yeah. But a lot of us have drunk the Kool-Aid, and we really are here because of the fact that we think Rocket Pool is such an attractive proposition, and it's something that will outperform ETH There are a few people who've talked about this quite a lot. The first one that I came across was Zero's rocket pool investment thesis. So you can find that on Reddit. There's version 1 and 2. You just search for rocket pool investment thesis and it'll be like the top results. And then Marceau obviously talks about his predictions for what's coming up, and they're extremely bullish. And we also have other people kind of making quite bullish projections. I think the least bullish projection I've seen for Rocket Pool in the medium term is from Logris the Bard, who's a poster on RETH Finance on Reddit, and he at the time that he wrote his post, kind of like spelling out the value proposition of the Rocket Pool token, I think the price was 0.01 ETH on the ratio, and even his extremely like bearish projection compared to all these other like hopium dealers, even his bearish projection was that it would reach approximately 0.05 on the ratio, which is still a 5x increase on the ratio. So in the dollar terms, that obviously would be multiplied by whatever ETH increased by in that time. So it's incredibly bullish, and I'm incredibly bullish on it. Of course, this is not investment advice and all that yada yada yada, but I'm all in on Rocket Pool in a way that I guess Sasano and Hal are not. And for me, it's a very high conviction bet. So I'm here every day and taking part in the community every day and reading everything that's posted every day. And I'm more bullish now than I was when I invested nearly a year ago for the first time. And yeah, it's definitely been a journey. But today's been one of those days that I think will be remembered for a long time in the Rocket Pool community, because it was the first major contract upgrade since we went live nearly a year ago. So it's really exciting. But the next one that's coming up is Atlas, and there's some really juicy tidbits that came out in the live call for what will go into the Atlas upgrade. So one of the main things that will go into Atlas upgrade is staking as service provider infrastructure built into the Rocket Pool service. So that means you can get person A who has ETH, person B who has RPL, and then they can be paired within trustlessly and completely without any kind of relationship between the two people. It's really, really great. It's gonna, I think, really propel Rocket Pool, because it'll open up staking for people who don't want to buy RPL, and it'll also allow people who have a lot of RPL to stake it without needing to change it into ETH. And then the second thing that I'm obviously incredibly excited about is the less bonded ETH mini pools. So the team is starting to work on getting those to be going into the next audit for Atlas at the end of September. So that will be the 8 ETH mini pools, which is incredibly exciting, and I can't wait to see what kind of amazing boost that's going to give the whole protocol. So there's a lot of really, really bullish things happening, and I'm incredibly excited about it all. But today is definitely one of those days to celebrate in the community, and maybe we're not all going to do shoeies, but we can definitely enjoy that. So thank you everyone, and I hope you had a good weekend, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.